Hello, and welcome to Fatecasters.
Yes!
Tonight is a very special night, for it is our first episode of our first campaign, Shadows of Stravia. Let's do a quick trip around the table and introduce ourselves. Please tell everyone who you are and the name and class of who you're playing. I'm Matt Tunnell, your Dungeon Master.
I'm Morgan, and I'm playing Requiem, a ranger.
I am Jess, and I am playing Zelphira Scorn, who is a true vampire rogue.
My name is Scotty, and I am playing Traghoul Frostbite. I am an ogre fighter.
Nice. Eric Renner, I'm playing Nick's Ghost Song. He's a charismatic changeling warlock.
Fantastic. With that, let's jump right in. Please join us as we descend into darkness.
Darkness. Shoo, 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 shoo.
Rain pounds against the muddy streets of Slavoka, turning filth into rivers of black sludge. The scent of rot and blood is thick in the air, and through it, a voice, raw, defiant. I have nothing left to give! Please! Not my son! A crack. A sharp blow as another blood cloak strikes a man across his face, sending him sprawling into the mud. His lip splits, blood trickling down his chin. Civilians look away, silent, afraid. They know what happens to those who resist. Captain Ysolde Valewind steps forward. He's handsome, lithe, clean-shaven with emerald eyes and long, straight red hair cascading past his shoulders. He's wearing simple leathers and a pristine crimson cloak. Oh dear, you know the rules. Everyone pays. The man's wife clutches their child, pressing him into her chest, whispering prayers to gods who no longer answer. The rain drowns out her voice. A blood cloak steps forward and yanks the boy from his mother's grasp. The child screams, thrashing wildly, but the soldier's grip is a vice. The mother shrieks, her nails clawing at the blood cloak's armor as she tries to pull her son back, desperation warping her voice into an inhuman wail. Please! He's all I have! Please, not my baby! The blood cloak shoves her back, sending her tumbling to the street. The child, crying uncontrollably, is hauled towards the collection cart, where others sit, shackled in terrified silence. The father, still on his knees in the mud, watches with hollow eyes, knowing there is nothing left to do. The surrounding crowd remains silent, too afraid to move, to speak, to defy. Captain Ysolde approaches you all, standing by the outskirts of the crowd. Always such a spectacle. But duty calls. The rest of the tithes won't collect themselves. Better get to it. And so it has been for 324 years, when the dwarven kingdom of Car Doral was shattered. Its mountain capital, Mol Doral, mysteriously obliterated overnight, became a crater, a grim reminder of a lost legacy. The conqueror, not a mortal army, but a vampire king, Lariel Stravos I, who turned the land into Stravia, a realm of undeath, fear, and iron control. Now Stravia is ruled from its dark heart, the capital, Valola, and the living dwell under the shadow of their undead masters. Faith in the faceless god is compulsory, and mortals pay blood tithes to ensure their continued existence. But beneath Stravia's control, unrest brews. The uneasy truce with the dwarfs of Dorusk wavers, and whispers of rebellion stir in the port city of Slavoka, where a group called the Sunlit Path dares to dream of a world free from undead rule. You are Blood Cloaks, elite enforcers of Slavoka, tasked with upholding the vampire lord's will. When threats arise that require a delicate touch or swift and total destruction, it's you who must act. Today, the streets of Slavoka are blanketed in mist. Dark, quiet, with even the living moving like shadows. The towering spires of the vampire lords loom over cobbled streets, and a faint scent of iron fills the air, an ever-present reminder of the blood that sustains Stravia. We begin in Holy Laza, the poorest district of Slavoka. Here, buildings sag and crumble, the streets reeking of damp, decay, and sickness. And per usual, it's raining heavily. As you walk, people avert their eyes from you, stepping back into shadows as you pass. Ahead, a small, crooked house comes into view. The light of a single candle flickers in the window, casting feeble shadows across the cracked walls. Above the door, a faded placard hangs, barely catching the light, a reminder of duties left unmet. The front door itself stands slightly ajar, and from within you hear the faint, ragged sound of coughing. This is the home of Arna, a single mother who has fallen behind on her tithe. And Zelphira and Requiem, Ysold has sent the pair of you to collect the tithes from Arna. Zelphira, could you please introduce yourself? Tell us what we see.
So Zelphira, as I said before, true vampire, dresses, pretty much in all black hair, likes to blend in with the shadows, as most rogues do. However, with kind of a flare of class to her looks. She is of the elven race and also looks to be about mid-20s at time of changing. Yeah.
Fantastic. Requiem.
Yeah. You see a middle build, somewhat frail female, and she is looks elvish, and she has long white flowy hair and is dressed in, white with dark leather, and she has some smaller weapons attached to her. You see her, if you catch her glance, you can see that her eyes are silvery and glowy, like when she stares at you. They're really bright. And you can see that her skin is borderline translucent, so she's just got a little bit of a flowy glow to her. And her clothes are not anything special, just got some leathers to her.
Great. Having both recently joined the Blood Cloaks, this is the first time the two of you are working together. The rain is dripping from your cloaks, pooling at your feet. The house is silent except for that faint, rasping cough. Do either of you do anything or hesitate before you enter?
No, but you see Requiem go to step up, and if you notice, you see her foot kind of go through the step. Mm-hmm. And then I pause, and then immediately lift my foot up, and then it steps normal onto the step. And I'll keep going. Awesome. Want to knock, or do you want me to?
You might need to knock, please.
You knock softly on the door and wait a moment. You don't hear a response.
I'll knock louder.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please, come in.
Very well. We'll go in. We are here for the...
Sorry. No, you could.
The pair of you enter. Zelphira, as you step into the threshold, I'd say this is probably the second time in your life that you feel the tingle in the back of your mind. And it's maybe a reminder that this, as a mortal's home, you are subject to their forbiddens.
Yes.
And should she not have allowed you entry, you would have been unable to enter.
Correct. About that.
I was waiting to see.
How does it feel, like Zelphira of House Scorn, knowing that you are helpless to enter the home of a mere peasant?
I feel like it's kind of I'd say a humbling experience, since I don't, until now, haven't quite done this, obviously. It's only the second time I've probably felt this. It's weird. Very, very weird, but humbling, because I've never had to before. So, although I feel like I kind of like it, because, I don't know, it's there's such a lower class, clearly, in this world to most of my kind, that I kind of like to see that they still have a flare of power.
Nice. Inside the house, the air is thick, suffocating with sickness. There's a sharp scent of sweat and damp cloth that are clinging to the walls. In the corner, a small boy lies on a makeshift bed. His skin is pale and clammy. His breathing is coming slow and shallow. Beside him, you see Arna is wringing a rag. Her hands are trembling. She looks mid-30s, but worn beyond her years. Her clothes are patched. Her face is lined with exhaustion. When she finally speaks, her voice is barely above a whisper, rushed and pleading. I know I owe the tithe, but my boy is sick. I beg you, please have mercy. I usually work nights at the Pickle Dimp, but I couldn't leave him. But I'll work tonight. I'll have the full payment tomorrow, I swear. You see her hands are gripping her apron tighter, and she's distinctly avoiding eye contact. Both of you give me an insight check.
Ooh. 25.
25.
20.
There's all the signs here. There's sweat on her brow, stiffness in her posture, darting eyes. She isn't just desperate. She's hiding something.
Why don't you have the payment?
My boy's been very ill. Anything that I've made extra working, and normally I work nights, like I said, but I feared that if I leave, he might pass by the time I get back. And at that moment, heavy boots slosh through the rain-soaked streets outside. Looking through the window, you spot a broad-shouldered merchant, his face red with fury, stomping down the narrow streets. There's a thick leather strap clutched in his fist, and his coat is soaked through from the rain. A fresh smear of blood stains his other wrist. Damn that gutter rat! Slash me and ran! That loaf was worth more than his miserable hide. There were Blood Cloaks here just a moment ago. Where is that whelp? His eyes are scanning the streets, flickering towards passing figures, but never settling long enough to accuse anyone outright. With a final shake of his head and a muttered curse, he stomps off down another alley. Requiem, with your passive perception, you catch the boy after a fit of coughing begins to mutter something. It's out of earshot, but he's like feverishly muttering something.
Can I go closer to him? Would it also be possible to do like a medicine check on him and see, like, can I evaluate him and see how sick? I know I can hear that he is sick, but...
Yeah, give me a medicine check.
Okay.
First roll.
Yeah.
Second.
17. 17.
17? As you approach, you hear what he's muttering like over and over. Let me not be lost. Let me not fade. Hold her, please. Like over and over. You examine him with a 17. He has black veins are spreading. You see, like, creeping up from under his shirt and approaching, like, coming across his neck and coming into his chin. And it resembles, like, a dark, translucent veil. It's very off-putting. But he, outside of some serious intervention, he probably won't survive the week.
Do I know what it is? Is he poisoned?
It's a serious illness. You haven't seen this before.
I haven't seen it before. Okay. We can see what we can do to extend your due date. You seem to have your hands full here. Can I examine the rest of the room and see if there's anything else? The fact that she seemed like she was kind of hiding a little bit more nervous, even though her son's obviously sick. And that's the truth. I want to see if I can notice anything else.
Give me a perception or...
Roll. Okay.
Perception if you're doing it quickly.
Oh. Where's my perception? Oh, that one's not as good. 12.
12. You don't notice anything outside of the outside of like the boy's coughing, the mother's very obvious nervousness. She rings a rag, goes to a sink, like wets it, begins to damp his brow again. Oh, you said it. I could again. I can have the full payment tomorrow. Would that be sufficient?
I look at Zelphira. There's no guarantee, but I can ask. I can check with our dude.
I mean, that would mean like I said, that would mean the world. I can have it for you tomorrow. I'll deliver it straight to the blood tithe tax house. Believe me.
What are we there? What is the tax?
You would require her monthly tithe of blood and gold.
Okay.
She owes 4.5 gold pieces a month. It's taxed at 30% of her income. Okay. In this case, is reported, by the Pickled Imp, where she barmaids, and a pint of blood a month.
How do they give that?
You collect it here. Normally, what they would be required to visit a blood tax house in the district in which they live. And that keeps them, they record that, like, yes, this person pays. And coincidentally, you notice the placard above her door. That is when they pay the tithe, they, with a portion of the blood, they come back and they mark their placard. And that is like magically imbued to say that this person's current, essentially. Wow. Okay. Coincidentally, that also is like a blanket allowance for vampires to enter her home. So if someone's current, a vampire such as yourself, Zelphira, can come and go as they please, because it's like saying, yes, I'm abiding by the rules, and there's like a ritualistic, allowance for people to come and go. But since she is behind, that has faded.
So is it like, so if they usually go to like the blood tax place, but if they don't, is that when we're sent to their homes to actually take it then and there?
Correct. Yeah, and this would be kind of universally for Blood Cloaks, like the most hated part of the job for most people, I would say. Even if like
guys,
even if it's not like a moralistic issue, it's just tedious, right? Like you're having to do like customer service right now, basically. Like go to everyone's home, collect their tithe. You're having to interface directly with the populace, the mortals of the city, and for many of you, that is abhorrent.
Okay.
For many Blood Cloaks, at least.
Can their blood be infected? Like if I notice he's not going to make it through the night,
you aren't here to collect his blood.
It's hers.
So
we'll get more into that. There's ways that they purify the blood, but you aren't here to collect his blood.
I believe we could at least, if you don't have the payment, maybe, no guarantees, but maybe we can come back for that. But I do believe there's no reason you can't do your blood tax.
Of course, my lady. Thank you. She bows low. Thank you so much, my lady. So generous.
I look away because I don't like it when people do that out here.
You like, there's an ad with your passive insight. There's like an adage. She did not expect a vampire to visit her home. Like, this is very abnormal.
She let me in.
She's probably been behind a couple months in a row here, but she's never had a vampire visit her home. So maybe that's adding to her nervousness, but you see that like she bows extremely low and is very deferential to you. But that's very generous. Yeah, my blood. And she hurries, damps a fresh cloth, rolls up her sleeve, wipes her arm. Yes, of course, my blood. I've been up all night, but I'm sure that's fine. And she will like approach you slowly and hold it out. Which one of you has the vial and needle to draw her blood? You can just decide.
I can do it.
I have it.
Okay.
It's probably best I'm not the one doing it.
Okay.
I don't want to take a little.
So you begin to draw her blood. Do you withdraw the required amount 1 month, 1 pint?
Would I have any insight onto how that would leave her feeling after? If that's the standard, are people usually well after that?
Give me a medicine check.
Okay.
I was going to say, is there any way I can be kind of intuitive with her heart rate as it's, being vampires with usually knowing if we can keep them alive.
Like, are you trying to see if you can keep them alive, or are you trying to...
just, if she's drawing the blood and she already seems weird, can I, do I have the ability to kind of be able to tell without actually, being the one feeding or anything, just hearing her heart rate and how things are going to make sure she's not
strong enough?
Yeah, I could say you can either roll a medicine check or you can give Requiem advantage.
What's your medicine?
I rolled an 11.
What's your plus? Oh, you
plus
have a higher
6,
plus, so
but that was
take
my
advantage.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, because that was not... Okay,
You scored the first one.
10 or 11.
11.
11.
She should be fine. That's what we take from everyone, you know?
Should be fine. That's fine.
Do you have a cup of water that you can drink before I start?
Yeah, I can go to the well.
Oh, it's out. Just please make sure that you hydrate.
I will. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I start.
Okay.
And we'll just be monitoring her while we do this.
Okay. Zelphira, you've received your tithe recently. The amount that you collect from the tithe. Your ever-present hunger is temporarily satisfied. Still, there's something different about the smell of blood straight from the vein. Its tang is sharp and intoxicating. Your vision blurs, the present slipping away as an older, darker memory rises to the surface. You're no longer in Arna's home. Instead, you stand in a dark room, your hands trembling, your lips stained red. The body of a mill worker lies crumpled at your feet, the life drained from his ashen face. The warmth of his blood still lingers on your tongue. Your belly is full. This is not hunger or thirst, not truly. It's desire. A desire, a need, so potent that succumbing to it feels inevitable, like trying to hold back the tide. Maybe it's something found in his blood, the raw essence of life that draws you. So this man had so much blood. He was filled with it. Surely he wouldn't miss if you took a little more. Please give me a wisdom saving throw.
6. I don't think I have advantage on saving throws, do I?
Don't think so.
Oh, just attacks.
Okay. You go back. You go back for more. You grab this man's body, freshly strengthened. You pick him up. He feels like a feather. Your fangs bite into his neck, and you drink deep. There's a creak, a small cry in the corner of the room. Give me a perception check.
18.
The sobs grow louder as you focus. The sound pulling at your instincts, predatory. You sense the wife crouched behind a stack of flour sacks, clutching a small boy to her chest. You feel the blood flowing in their veins as well. Their fear is a beacon, calling to this need that is still gnawing at your core, unfulfilled. One more wisdom saving throw. We'll do our shameless rip-off here of the Box of Doom Love You Dimension 20. Because this will have some pretty serious consequences later on.
Man.
So you can feed it to the raven. We'll call this a raven roll. Or you can roll it in a box.
Wait, so is this a memory or is it a...
That is
It might be a mixture of both.
Raven roll.
We'll see.
Shrunk enough to fight you off.
Dude. Just slam
I don't
dunk it
think
in
you
his
would
gullet.
fight me off. I'm just saying.
What is it?
Oh, that is a nat 20.
First raven roll is a 20.
You're super
Let's
good.
go.
For the thing we don't know that may or
All
may
right,
not
so
be
every
happening
time I
later.
get a raven roll, I'm
Feel free to go
gonna raven roll it.
All right, so
man.
raven rolls are lucky. We all know now. It's a good thing.
Started off with a good one.
That was excellent. You reach out, like in your mind for them, but you grit your teeth, forcing yourself to step back, even as this hunger screams at you in protest. This isn't who you are, you tell yourself. You've trained for this, prepared for this. You will not become the monster, not more of the monster that they fear. Behind you, there's a steady, calming voice, one you know well. Enough, dear. You fed. That's enough. Step away now, before you add another regret to your collection. This isn't you. This isn't you. It's okay. And then a line that you've heard 100 times in training with your uncle, Ysold Vailwyn. His anchor that you know, now yours. A blade is only as useful as its wielder. Never forget that. Your uncle Ysold must have tracked you here to this location. He approaches from behind, gently, still cautious. You like someone would approach a wild animal in this sense. And he puts his crimson cloak around your shoulders. He kneels next to the fallen millworker's body, carefully closes his eyes, and you hear the tinkle of coins as he lays a weighty sack next to the body. He wraps an arm around you and he leads you away from this place. The millworker's home fades into the night behind you, but the memories linger. The taste of that blood, the smell of fear, and the sound of Ysold's steady voice, they all follow you, etched into your mind. This is the life you've been given, and better for worse, you must learn to live it. Zelphira, you are back in Arna's home. Requiem, you have finished drawing the blood. There's, again, a faint scuffling noise, but this is more clear. It comes from, like, the small room behind the kitchen, closed off with a curtain. Both of you give me perception checks.
Yep.
10.
13.
Requiem, you immediately recognize the sound of someone trying to stay quiet, hiding just beyond the curtain. You also notice Arna's expression shifts. There's like a flicker of panic in her eyes before she like forcefully hides it and goes back to her son and begins wiping his brow again.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you hear that?
What was it? Sorry. I shake off a little bit of whatever's happening.
Can I walk towards it? How far away am I from it?
Just a few feet.
Where at?
I'd like to, as I'm putting all my stuff away, just kind of nonchalantly and non-threatening, go towards where the noise is so I can see who's back there.
No, it's okay.
I silence her.
She submits right away. But as you move, she's like, my lord, it's just a draft. You pull back the curtain. As it is torn aside, there's a small figure lurches back. He's pressing against the corner of this dimly lit storage room. He's a young boy, no older than 15, startled and wide-eyed, clutching a small bloody knife in one trembling hand and a half loaf of bread in the other. His face is gaunt, his skin pale from the malnourishment, and his clothes are patched and frayed. From behind Zelphira, you probably notice first, but Arna goes, "No, please, he was just a boy. He was hungry. He didn't mean..."
I close it.
You close the,
and I turn around.
Curtain?
Yeah, I close the curtain.
I just tell her shh, because I know not long ago there was a lot going on outside.
Yeah. Would I have any other reason to think that he's hiding other than he stole it? Do we have a census, I guess, of who lives in what house? Like, were we expecting 2 kids here with the mom?
Give me an insight check.
Yeah. Not rolling great. 14.
Actually,
I mean, it's the signs are fairly obvious here, right? Like you saw, you knew she was hiding something, and that kind of comes immediately into focus. What she was hiding, and you know as you approach, the door was ajar, and so you think that you walked right into a scene where this boy stole from that merchant, slashed him to get a piece of bread, ran in here to try to hide from him, and then that merchant angrily, passed by looking for him as you approached.
I leave it closed, and I stand and I just kind of observe, and I say, Zelphira, I think we've collected what we can here.
See, Arna is watching the pair of you, she's whispering, he was starving. I can pay his tithe.
You can't pay your own tithe, my dear.
I can find a way. Just let him go.
I would like to, as sneakily as I can, take out a gold coin without either of the women noticing, and leave a gold coin.
Wait, me too?
On the table. Yeah, you too. You'll notice. You're not very safe. I just leave it on the table and say,
I see
please do what you can. So when we come back, it is taken care of tomorrow. I'll pack everything.
I'm only
else,
hesitant because, I mean, being vampires, we're usually lawful evil. We like rules, and I am very drawn to follow rules. However, there's reasons why I'm here, not in a castle. So, I see you do it, and I kind of just, after everything, thoughts-wise and everything, I just let it go. However, on our way out, I'm going to open that curtain slightly again, and I'm going to request the blade from the kid that he had in his hand, and see if he gives me
a persuasion check or intimidation, your choice. We'll put the DC at 12 here. He's pretty razzled.
Let's do intimidation. Well, 11.
He is. You get like you're just catching him like in the crack of this curtain, and there's like a wildness to this boy. He is confused. He's hungry. He knows that you are Blood Cloaks. And he knows what that means to be found by Blood Cloaks. And he's not convinced. He'd rather go down fighting than give you the blade.
I'll step in and crouch down.
It's like, I want to try one more time, but it's going to be requiring a hiss.
This isn't something that can keep happening. However, we understand. Please give us the blade. There is no more bloodshed that needs to happen today for your mom and for your brother.
As she's trying to persuade you, I start to like show a little bit of fang. Get the kid.
When you say brother, give me an insight check from Arna.
Okay. What?
Just give me an insight check.
Oh, okay. 10, 16.
You don't think this boy's related. There's like a glass. She glances back. You think that he just ran in here.
I think she's just hiding a kid.
She was just harboring this thief who ran in here.
Because he's starving.
He's starving. I don't think that really changes.
Go ahead and give me a persuasion check. Again, the DC is going to be higher because of the failure. We'll do 15.
Him kind of like a little bit, like
I
kind
just
of
crouched down and kind of reached my hand in front of you a little bit.
I guess you probably comforted me a little bit, but I probably still was kind of fanging like.
Would you say persuasion?
Yes.
Dirty 20.
Excellent.
Okay. You see, he lays down the blade like carefully in front of him, grasps this loaf, looks at Arna, tears it in half, like throws half of it to her, and then is going to try to dart past both of you and go out the door. Do you prevent him from leaving?
I don't.
Half of me wants to because I feel like he's in a lot more danger out there if we're going to let him be.
Do you have blood all over
I'll
his
let him be.
hands? Or is it just mainly on the dagger?
On the knife.
Okay, yeah.
I'll let him be because I'm taking the dagger.
We'll roll a stealth check for him. You want this to be high. 13 on the dice. Okay, so you see him run out the door. Arna is extremely quiet. You see her shaking, but she's like, thank you, my ladies. I won't forget it.
I'm going to pick up the dagger and try and pocket or hide it basically on my person because it's bloody.
Okay. Do the pair of you do anything else before you leave?
Tomorrow. You're due.
Yes. I'll deliver it. I promise.
Do you have the blood? Mm-hmm. Okay. I just take a big breath and I walk out the door.
The pair of you step outside into the cold night air, the lingering scent of sickness and blood clinging faintly to your senses. The relative freshness of the Holy Laws offers little comfort as there's still stench in the streets. A few moments after you exit, you see the merchant returning, still bloody, still sodden. There you are. Finally. Have you found that rat?
What rat?
The one who slashed me and ran.
What was he doing?
He stole a loaf from me and he ran off. You see this blood?
I take out a bandage of some sort because I've been taking blood, so I'm assuming I have some kind of bandage. And I toss it at him. There you go. Cover it up. We'll keep an eye out. If we see, we'll let you know.
Give me a persuasion check.
Come. Oh, 4.
He takes it, throws it into the mud. Blood cloaks. Bloody blood cloaks, all the same. He stomps off down the street.
My bandage. Do we have another house that we're going to?
You know that your next assignment is to meet Captain Ysold in the Linstead Market Square.
I won't say a word of this to Ysold if you don't.
What happens when they ask about the tithe?
Well, we can let him know. We can try and go back tomorrow. But
It's true. Isolde will understand.
your uncle does seem to be very understanding.
We do not talk about the kid.
Nope.
The pair of you head north to Linstead to meet Captain Ysold for your next collection. On the way, Requiem, you find that your eyes are drawn eastward. Across the muddy flow of the Car-Huron River, the district of Bankbutch sprawls beyond its tall buildings and narrow streets lit dimly by scattered lanterns. But your gaze travels further still, past the fading lights and into the wilderness that lies beyond the city's edge. For a moment, the present fades, and your thoughts are pulled towards a distant memory, a time when you walked among the living with warmth of life in your veins. Your vision sharpens as you focus on a vague shape on the horizon, the faint outline of a hill where a small village once stood. The whispers of long-forgotten voices stir in the back of your mind, and the weight of the past presses down on you. You smell freshly damped wood and fear. Villagers around you murmur among themselves, their eyes flitting between you and the accused. A woman bound to a wooden post weeps softly, her voice hoarse from pleading. She stands on a pile of kindling. High Paladin Agatha is beside you, her gleaming armor reflecting the setting sun. She speaks to the crowd, her voice unwavering. Purity must prevail. We cannot suffer corruption in the shadow of Apollo's light. Agatha turns to you. Elira, your crossbows have struck down countless threats to Apollo's light. Today you will bear witness as justice is carried out. This soul must be released to our God's mercy. She holds a torch, but does not hand it toward you. Instead, she watches you carefully, testing, measuring. Give me an insight check.
Mm-hmm. 21.
Your skilled ranger senses get the sense that there is little proof for this accused, Mariel's guilt. In a common case of the Order of Agi Solis, perhaps there was some slight necromancy performed here, but probably only in the sense that, like, healing magic is considered necromancy. You sense the doubt among the villagers and their, like, distant calls, but the weight of tradition and your order sits on the other end of this scale. What do you do?
I stare at the paladin. Did you say captain?
Yeah. High Paladin Agatha.
I I stare back at her. I'm not moving.
Okay.
Did I sense that she was waiting for me to grab it? To make an action?
You sense that you could grab it from her if you wanted.
Okay, I don't.
The accused, Mariel, tied at the stake. Please, my lady, I've done nothing wrong but help the sick and the weak. My only fault is kindness. But that's no sin, is it? You just feel the weight of the order surrounding you, the paladins of your order, a handful around this area. Are you still standing there? Are you frozen in place? Do you step forward or look away?
I want to be observing the other paladins and see if I can notice anyone that is flinching away or that might possibly be feeling what I'm starting to feel, which is this is unfair and this shouldn't maybe be happening.
You feel the familiar touch of your closest companion in the order, Isabella Ravenshadow, behind you. She says, "It must be done. Nothing else for it now." Let me ask you this, Elira. Do you feel the weight of this moment, or have you already seen too much?
I think I feel the weight of it.
Agatha approaches the crowd again. Doubt has no place in the hearts of those who serve the light. And then she turns to you, Elira. Elira, this woman consorted with Shadow, invited corruption into our midst. If you hesitate, it is not only her soul that you endanger, but her own. Will you falter in your duty now?
There has to be another way.
Another way. From behind you, you see the face, the mask of standing tall in golden armor with a golden skull mask, the commander of the paladin, Thaddeus Aurelius. High Paladin, is this hesitation that we sense among our midst? Agatha turns back to him. Hesitation is the gateway to corruption, Elira. If you will not act, then bear witness. Watch closely. Let this lesson sear itself into your soul. She turns around, hands the torch to Thaddeus, and nods. Thaddeus steps forward and grabs it. What do you do?
If we do not take a moment to evaluate what her intentions are, even if her methods are different from ours, they're different, that's it, then we are doing no better than what they are doing.
Agatha grasps your arm firmly. You will stand here and learn, Elira. This is not a choice. This is the bear. She turns now to the crowd, not speaking to you any longer. This is the burden we bear as servants of the light, to make sacrifices so other need not. She turns again back to the crowd. Faith does not ask for perfection, only for resolve. Thaddeus drops the torch onto the kindling. She looks away, turns to you. You carry the weight of judgment now. Learn from it, for strength is forged in such moments. The wood catches fast. Flames lick hungrily at the woman's feet. Do you flinch at the first scream, or do you force yourself to stay impassive?
I force myself to not flinch, but I'm not watching her. I'm looking away.
Agatha lets go of your arm. This is what devotion demands, Elira. The screams will fade. The purity we preserve will endure. Her gaze lingers on you. Do you believe her?
I feel very confused. I don't know if I believe her.
The fire and screams dissolve into the cold night air of Slavoka. The Karhan River flows steadily in the distance, but the echo of that memory maybe sharper than they have been for years. You are a Requiem now, a wraith bound to the present, but the weight of Elira's choices still cling to you like a shadow. The cold wind brushes against you, carrying with it the faint scent of iron and salt from the bay. The muffled sounds of Slavoka's restless streets stir you from your thoughts, grounding you in the present. Your gaze once again turns to Bankbutch, once a bustling hub of commerce that now stands as a quiet reminder of better days, its dark alleys calling to another pair of Blood Cloaks navigating their own path through the city. The streets of Bankbutch, though worn and crumbling, retain a faint echo of their past prosperity. There's tall stone buildings with slanted roofs that line the streets, their faded signs hinting at once thriving businesses. Now its people scrape by under vampire rule, some seeking favor through loyalty, others scheming in the shadows. We turn to Nyx and Traghoul, traveling separately. You were instructed to meet one another here. The inn you approach is a humble establishment known as the Banshee's Wail. Its sign swings gently in the cold breeze, showing a peeling, cartoonish painting of a banshee perched atop a whale. Above the door, an entry placard hangs, its surface worn and dull, faint traces of dried blood barely visible on it. Inside, the smell of cooking food and the murmur of low conversation drift towards you. The innkeeper here, a man named Grigor, is known as a staunch loyalist to the vampire lords. Yet, despite his loyalty, he has fallen behind on his tithes, something that has not gone unnoticed. Nyx, we'll start with your introduction. What does Traghoul see as you approach the inn? We'll say you guys are meeting here.
Yeah. So Nyx is very much, adorned in blacks as a warlock, but very fashionable blacks. Laces in, everyone. Big top hat, little pops of like greens that he kind of comes to. And he is the least nonchalant person you'll ever meet, right? So he's heavily using prestidigitation at almost all times when he's out in public. So he's got, I can do 3 effects at the same time, right? So as you kind of walking down, you see, like a soft glowing coming around him. And then beyond the glow, there's like shadow that's like coming off in wisps. And it's just very fantastic. Like, look at me kind of. There's faint musical notes that are doing that. And it's just kind of like a little hype music for himself as he's kind of like popping off down the street. And then for the third prestidigitation, it's every 6 seconds as he's getting closer to someone. He's actually just actively cleaning the things that are around him. So it's like, hey, you just got in my area. I'm going to make you a little clean. You're welcome for 6 seconds. And then I'm going to pull it. And I'm going to make the next person like a little bit cleaner. Like, you're welcome in my presence. You are beautiful. And then as soon as it goes back, there's vomit back on their clothes or they're back to dirty. And they're like, oh. And so you just kind of see him just kind of like sauntering down, just like whistling a tune, kind of a thing. And, he's just like, all right, I'm going to work. My life is pretty swell kind of a thing. Yeah. And, he clicks his heels as he kind of approaches and sees you and tips his hat.
Great. Traghoul, what does Nyx see?
He sees a towering ogre, who is very large stature, has very pale white skin and white hair. He's also adorned in just fur that is clearly been from animals that he has killed along his ventures. And he carries a large warhammer in one hand across his shoulder. As he's stomping through the mud towards you, you can just see
flying up everywhere.
And he makes his way to you. He just gives you a low.
Still wearing that fur, I see. It's quite dirty, though. Let me just take care of that for you for a moment. There you are, my good fellow. Much better. So, what are we doing here? And I guess maybe that's...
Yeah, so, again, though fellow Blood Cloaks, you have both joined up recently, and this is your first job together. Do the pair of you do anything before entering, or do you enter the Banshee's Wail?
Do we know what our mission is?
You need to collect tithe. Okay. You need to collect tithe from the
just from the
tavern owner.
Okay, yeah, got it.
guess my question for you is, how large is this establishment?
It is decently sized, but, I mean, like all buildings practically in Slavoka, you have to duck heavily and turn sideways to enter this door. And you'll probably have to duck as these ceilings are probably not 9 feet high. So you'll probably also be like filling up the roof and crouched down as you enter.
Perfect.
Have we worked together before doing this kind of a thing?
No.
Okay. Well, you're quite large, and I'm on a time scale. I got to get to drinking later, so what do you say we just make this quick? You go in, you beat the shit out of the guy, we grab the blood, we get out of here. 5 minutes, tops. What do you think?
I like that idea.
All right.
I guess going in, written on your piece of paper, that Grigor owes 13.5 gold pieces.
Okay.
And then his pint of gold. Or pint of blood.
Okay. I'm going to allow you to kind of go in first, because you're so large, and I think it's funny to kind of watch it. I don't want to miss a moment. So,
all right. I guess as I enter, strugglingly, what do I see?
Yeah, as you step into the Banshee's well, the warm glow of lanterns cast a cozy but wan light over the modest interior. There's a faded tapestry of some long-lost noble family that's hanging on the far wall, and scattered tables hold patrons hunched over their mugs, muttering quietly amongst themselves. That almost entirely all grow entirely silent as you enter, especially as they see the ogre entering the front door. At one table near the corner, there's 2 older men in patch coats that sit with their heads bent low, sharing a house conversation that halts again the moment you walk in. There's a lone figure, a boy, standing by the fireplace, poking at the embers with a stick, and you see he nervously glances at Grigor, who's behind the bar. Kind of cleaning a tankard, and looks up as the pair of you enter. Nyx, say for you, as you finished your practice scan of the room, which you are very proficient at, gauging threats, probably as your initial entrance, you find your gaze drawn back to the boy at the fireplace. A spark of recognition flickers within you, but it's not him you remember. It's another child, another family. The warmth of the fire blurs in your vision, and for a moment, you are not here. The tavern fades, and you find yourself standing in a modest dwarven home. These walls are adorned with small charms and trinkets, simple handcrafted tokens meant to ward off ill fortune. The faint scent of freshly baked bread mingles with the earthy aroma of stone dust. A fire crackles in the hearth, its glow casting flickering shadows across sturdy wooden furniture. In one corner, a low table is set with mismatched mugs and plates, and above it hangs a faded tapestry depicting the dwarven mountain Mol Doral as it once stood. There's a carved relief of the face of your twin brother, I think as you recognize it in this moment, Andrew, sits in the corner, fresh flowers set beside it. The room is alive with subtle, cozy details, a worn rocking chair near the fire, a stack of neatly folded blankets, and the soft hum of a lullaby drifting from Thalia's lips. Thalia, seeing you enter, warm and lovely, rushes to fret over you, checking your hands and face for signs of wear or illness. Oh, look at your skin and bone. They're working you too hard at that school. I'll make you something proper to eat, eh?
Yes, Ma. Please do. I'm so hungry.
Thalia moves to the small kitchen tucked into the corner of the room, her hands deftly gathering ingredients from worn cabinets and earthen jars that she sniffs before setting down the counter. There's a soft clatter of pots and the rhythmic chopping of a knife that create a soothing backdrop, filling the air with the scent of herbs and fresh bread warmed by the fire. She's humming a soft lullaby under her breath. A moment later, Gilder enters, tall for a dwarf and as stout as they come, with a thick beard and kind wrinkled eyes, still wearing his hardened leathers and covered in stone dust, from working a long day at the mines. He bends to give you a tight embrace. Ah, my lass, It's good to see you. You've been missed more than you can. Come, sit by the fire, eh?
Aye, I will. Did you bring any stones for me, da?
Check out this one. And from his satchel, he pulls out a dark, looks like obsidian, volcanic stone. From the center of it, flakes like a red. It's not a gem. It's not probably valuable in any sense, but a beautiful, like red clay. It looks like a lightning bolt, like in the center of this gem mini as he hands it to you.
That's beautiful. What vein did you crack to get this in?
Well, we're working the crater.
Okay.
But I shouldn't tell you that. It's a little secret.
I mean, if that's where the best stones are, I'll be there tomorrow. You know what I said?
Don't.
Well, you can't stop
I'm
me.
serious, Cece. Do not go near that place.
Sure, I could be.
Cece?
Yeah, we'll see.
He sits, gathers by the fire. You see he pulls a blanket from the side. How's that school then? Tell me true. Have you been learning any dangerous magic?
No, of course. Helps me a lot.
He glances over as Thalia is like staring daggers at you.
Only abjuration, warding magic only. It's very safe, I promise. And they feed me plenty.
He pulls you down and whispers, never you mind. Tell me later. When your mom's not around, huh?
Oh, da.
Never a talkative man. After a moment, you see he gets up and goes out back and begins gathering firewood. After Gilder leaves, and you are given a quiet moment in this home, Nyx, you hear a familiar voice in your mind. See how effortlessly you become what is needed. You are not one person, you are infinite. Let go of the chains of a single identity and you will surpass them all.
I feel warm and comforted at this voice. It is the belonging and the place that I want to be with the voice in my head that I've always wanted.
Yeah, I definitely think belonging.
Yeah.
I think is what you get most from at this moment. This piece is broken by a faint pop. A sound so subtle you might have imagined it. And then from beneath the countertop, plop, the boggle appears. His small, spindly form stepping through the door that seems to shimmer into existence between like the shadow of where Thalia's legs makes a doorway. He grins mischievously as his sticky hands brush against the wooden table beneath Thalia's vision. And they see a faint, like, shimmer of oil as he's touching the wooden counter. And you see he tips a jar of flour just slightly before diving under the chair silently. And Thalia glances up hurriedly, snatches the jar, and then with a bemused smile, like, mutters, house spirits.
Cece would just giggle under her breath and just kind of try to hide it. And then she will just toss the stone that she just got from her dad, just in that general direction of Plop.
He scurries over, grins mischievously and huge, filling up in the entirety of his face, impossibly large, little tiny fangs dotting his smile, and then tucks it back into a sack. It has it as at his side, and then disappears. Footsteps approach a moment later, and you see Baron enter from the bedroom. He's coming into his own beard now. A dwarf would call him a beardling, because he is growing a beard and is entering manhood. You notice that he is not wearing his beloved hand-me-down moth-eaten cloak from his grandfather. You would clock that immediately. He has a new brown leather cloak. Looks like he just picked it up. There's not a speck on it. He leans against the doorway with a crooked grin. Back at last, eh? I hope you brought tales of grand adventures, or at least something to spice up the stories.
It's mostly just boring tests. You wouldn't care, but look at you. You've got a cloak. Look at your beard coming in. I hope mine is as beautiful as yours someday, brother.
You could wish.
I shall.
he strides into the kitchen where Thalia's bent over the counter, and his hand darts out, snatching a bit of dough from the bread she's working. She turns sharply. Baron Halfstone, have you any more sense than a goat on a hillside? That's for your supper. And he laughs and pops the stolen morsel into his mouth. And, wee taste never hurt, Mum. And she goes at him with a wooden ladle and goes back to her cooking. Baron shoot away from the kitchen, goes to the hearth, where he pulls out, probably familiar to you, a set of polishing tools, and begins, polishing and sharpening different stone cutting tools and woodworking tools. He's humming softly a familiar dwarven tune, and he glances towards you as you're set in the living room. Go ahead and give me an insight check.
All right. Inside, that'll be a gentleman's 9.
Okay. He keeps humming. Do you do anything in this moment?
I think at this moment, Cecilia would just enjoy being home, enjoying the hearth, enjoying the sounds, trying to soak in her surroundings, trying to make the moment last as long as she can before she needs to go back to the academy.
Yeah. A door to the back room creaks open, and a small figure steps into the warm glow of the hearth. Lurley, with her fiery red hair, clutches a worn pebble in her tiny hands, her curls bouncing as she skips towards the kitchen where her mother waits. Mom, what smells so good? Is it the stew ye promised? You see her notice you, and then her eyes grow threefold. See. And as she rushes towards you, she trips on the rug, her pebble slipping from her grasp and clatters onto the floor. Her face scrunches up in dismay as she drops to her knees, patting the ground with her hands. Rumble, where'd you go? As Lurley searches on her hands and knees, another familiar pop from under the table. Plop appears once more, his large, wide eyes, dwarfing even Lurley's, gleaming with impish delight. He grabs the pebbles with sticky fingers, holding it aloft like a trophy as he scurries under a nearby chair. Lurley's eyes widen at the sound, her head tilting to the side, as though she sensed something, but she shakes it off and continues hands and knees under the table searching for something. Plop turns towards you, his grin once again impossibly wide, asking for permission or daring you to do something.
I will give him permission to keep it.
Lurley's voice, Cece, have you seen Rumble? He's gone.
Let me look around here for you for a second.
And Plop tucks it in and runs under the next chair.
Yeah.
Disappears.
I'm going to pretend to find the pebble on the ground, and I'm going to use prestidigitation to make a small trinket, non-magical in this moment. And it's going to be that same pebble, but as I hand it to her, it's going to blossom into a flower, and her pebble will now have, yeah.
Cece, that's amazing. Did you learn that at school?
I did. But it's temporary. But I can do it for you as many times as you need.
Well, make sure you come back then, lots. I'd say a few moments later, as you are probably playing with her in the living room, Lurley, kind of sitting in your lap, I say, looks up at you, her giant green eyes, staring back, and Cece, why do you have to be away at that school so much? I miss having you here.
And I miss being here too. But it helps us all, doesn't it? Dad goes to work, and so does your brother, and Mom, she's helping in the garden, she's cooking for us now. Everyone has their chores to do. My part is to be at the academy. It helps here, and you don't like having to pay the tithe anymore, isn't that right?
Yeah, no, Mom and Dad, that's good for them. You see, she thinks about it and stares down at the flower in her grasp. And you see her like small frame straightens into a rigid posture, and you hear her voice begins to mimic something you all heard from Countess Virelia Scorn's last public address at the bank book docks that you attended. And her voice, still childlike, kind of takes on a tinge of that aristocratic tone. Just like our tallest walls will crumble without the individual stones that make them, so too would Slavoka crumble without the great effort from all of you.
I think you could join the academy at some point, too.
Thanks, Cece.
Yeah, that sounds right out of one of my history classes.
She gets up and runs off into the kitchen and begins, like, pulling at her mom's skirt and demanding something to eat immediately. A night of delicious, hearty food, laughter, and familiar warmth passes that evening. Far too quickly, always too quickly. As the family settles down for the night, Gilder pulls you aside. His gruff, hard demeanor, I'd say, he's a man who knows that he has to be hard for his family. But you see that soften, maybe the softest you've seen recently, and he kneels next to you. I dinna say it enough, lass, but I'm proud of you. You made us all proud. Your mum worries, but she knows you're stronger than you let on.
Dad, you can't tell me how much that means to me. Sometimes it does get lonely there, but I think about you all, and I know I'm doing the right thing. It's so good to see you.
It's good to see you too, lass. The boy at the fireplace stirs the embers again, shaking you from this memory. The echoes of the half-stone's laughter and the lullabies fade, leaving only the dim hum of the tavern.
I kind of tear my eyes away from the boy at the fireplace because that is someone else. That is another place that I have to be, and I like who I am. And I turn to Grigor at the counter, and I say, gosh, now I gotta switch my voices here. I order a beer. I demand a beer.
Yeah. Grigor looks up from behind the bar, his weathered face shadowed by the dim lighting in here. He wipes his hands on the rag. Give me an insight check.
Insight's the best thing I do, guys. All right, actually, that's 14.
Yeah, 14's good enough. You sense there's a quiet defiance from him, not fear in this moment.
Okay.
Blood Cloaks. I know why you're here. I'm behind on the tithe. But the inn's been struggling. I've served the vampire lords faithfully for years, and I'm not about to turn my back on them now. I need a little more time. I'll get what's owed soon enough.
Ah. My good man, I'm not here for the tithe. I'm here to give you a bath. You are filthy, sir. I swear to God, if I come into this place and I have to smell your wretched scent, I'm just trying to get a beer. My God. Man, I'm here for the tithe. Maybe I am now. Huh? What do you have to say about that? I just wanted to have a beer, but now I'm here for the tithe. All right. Bring it on out.
He turns back, pours a beer for you, sets it on the counter.
All right. You can handle the rest, yeah? No, I'll take my beer and I'll go join those two old gentlemen at the table that made eye contact and did not want to hang out with me at the beginning. But I'm going to go make it real weird.
Yeah, they certainly tense as you arrive, kind of silently glance among themselves, but you quickly either intimidate or charismatically persuade, maybe a combination of both, a way into some conversation.
Definitely. Okay.
Traghoul, what do you do with Gregor at the bar?
I think, is there a way for me to tell if, he's either making the patrons pay for their drinks or he is serving them without making them pay. Or how many patrons are in the bar per se?
I'd say 5.
Okay.
Yeah. As you're in here, go ahead and give me perception or insight, I'd say. DC 12.
Let's see. Where is my 12? Ooh, 10.
I mean, I'd say you're just at the wrong time. No one's ordering drinks. He did not charge Nyx for the beer. But I mean, you don't sense otherwise that he's like not charging. Listen, sir, business it's been hard to get goods. Do you understand? The docks have been slow. I have ale, beer, but food, fresh meat, vegetables, no. Recently, even, maybe past couple months, nothing coming in. I can pay 10 gold. That will bankrupt me. You'll come by tomorrow and you'll see us closed, but I'll pay that.
Is there a way for me to know, pretty much, if they're not buying goods, then where is his money going to?
I don't know if you have enough information to know that, like, he's not charging.
Right.
You maybe have that suspicion, but did you roll insight or perception previously?
They're both 8s.
They're both the same?
Yep.
Give me one more insight check.
That would be a 20.
20. You sense that he's telling the truth in this moment, that his primary concern is a shortage of goods. As a tavern owner, he's subject to merchants, to shipping of these items, whether by the docks or by land, or even just the few farms outside of Slavoka, right? He's not a farmer, right? Like, he's not growing wheat to make ale or farming livestock for meat. So he has to buy these things and then sell them at his tavern. So you sense that he's telling the truth in that it's a supply shortage. I'll say was that a natural 20 or
dirty
20? With a dirty 20, I'll say you get kind of that same sense of he is maybe acting more deferential, and relying on his good reputation. And you do sense that there is some defiance here. Maybe not even towards you specifically, but towards who you represent.
Can I slam my fist on the bar and either demand 8 gold pieces from him and then tell him that he needs to either ask for a loan from his patrons in the bar or come up with the money somehow? You
demand the full 13 right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whether he pays all of it himself or he gets the money somehow.
Give me an intimidation check. You can use your strength for that too.
Yeah, my. Let's see. Ooh, only a 6. 11.
11. You slam your hand the size of like a barrel onto this counter, this bar. Sturdy though it is, you feel it like beneath the weight of your blow.
Yeah. Now the party's starting.
I've told you, Blood Cloak. I have 10. I don't know. I don't I don't got any more on my boots. And he reaches down. You see him searching through some chests and things. He goes in the back, pulls out a sack, puts it on the counter. You can take my blood too. I don't know what you. I have no child for you to take.
Can I call for Nyx to come over to assist me in either I hold the man down to take his blood while Nyx takes it, or...
Yeah. You call on me. I hold up a finger because I really want to finish my story with these old guys. And so, yeah. And then, you see from a distance that he just becomes frustrated with them. And so, he saunters on over. What seems to be the problem, my man?
He says he cannot make his payment.
That's awesome.
What shall we do?
Should we just burn this whole place down? I've got a schedule to keep. This beer, you say you have beer here? Yes?
I have beer.
What other goods do you have?
I can give you 10 gold and a keg. It's worth more than 3.
Okay. Now we're talking 13-ish, yeah? What are you selling the beer for? I didn't buy it, but I guess it's not like written down or anything like that.
5 copper. Mug.
Well, I think you hold him down. I take all this man's blood, his 10 gold, and maybe we'll have someone that can actually do some damn business around here. Maybe it'll be cleaner with the next guy, yeah?
I like that plan.
Okay. The unpleasant way. Are you sure there's really nothing else that you have?
Okay. Give me intimidation with advantage.
Okay.
Traghoul giving you advantage.
Oh, okay. That's a 2 on the die.
With advantage?
Oh, with advantage. Thank God. Okay. Oh, yeah. That much better. Okay. Intimidation, that'll be a 23.
23. Okay. I can do everything I ask, but you see he motions for you to come behind the bar into the kitchen. Do you guys follow?
My good man, sexual pleasures shall not sufficiently pay the tithe.
I got information.
Information. All right.
Traghoul, you can't fit through the opening in the bar, so have to just step over it. You both enter into the kitchen. Listen, okay? What I said is true. That's all I have to give, but Blood Cloaks might want to look at the dock. There's a reason why shortages are coming up. And, hey, if you can solve them, then it would be an aid on my part, too.
Who is your contact for this information?
Well, all I can say is look at the harbor master.
The more information, the more lenient I might say I am. What do you think? A keg of beer and maybe only 8 gold at this point.
I mean, if I have to, I'll fight him.
Give me another intimidation check with advantage.
Do you want to take this one?
Sure. Wow. Okay. 14.
Like I said, press the harbor master. I think there's maybe ties there with the sunlit path.
As soon as he hears the sunlight path, he'll switch more into business mode with it. And what exactly do you mean, the sunlight path? He is part of it? You are part of it?
No, I went down to the docks. last week, okay? And I go to the harbor master to ask him why there's no shipments, why I can't have any goods. And when there, I do my own books, okay? He shows me this book, and it's doctored, okay? I am pretty good with math and schedules. I know when my shipments are coming and going, and the entries he has in this book, not what matches with reality, okay? And as I leave, there's graffiti on the wall of the Sunlit Path logo. Their emblem, the sun with, the path cutting through the center.
Yes, everyone knows the symbol.
And so I put one and one together, and so this is where I give you this from.
Yes, with 2.
Exactly.
Yes.
I told you I can do math.
Well, 8 gold, sir?
He pulls 8 gold from his pouch, gives it to you. You see he will, bare his arm for you and not resist as you draw his blood.
Okay. I'd fix this dock shortage. There's no reason for you to not completely pay the remainder next month.
Sure.
And maybe we stop by and we have a little taste ourselves with the extra for fixing your problem.
I'll tell you, you fix problem, it's on the house.
Well, the blood then?
The blood.
I'll stick him, just unceremoniously.
Perfect. Okay. You guys draw your blood. Do you do anything else before you leave?
Well, what do you think? He did give us some information, but I don't know. He's been kind of a smug asshole about it. Should we break some fingers, or what's your pleasure? What does Traghoul feel about it?
I only want to fight worthy opponents.
Away then.
Should we go to the docks?
Let's regroup. This is the kind of information that I would probably
Pass along.
pass along. Yeah.
As you conclude your collection and step back into the chill of Slavoka's streets, the sound of the inn fade into the distance, replaced by the sound of the ocean and the call of the gulls. After you've collected your tithe, you also have been instructed to meet with another pair of Blood Cloaks and Captain Ysold at the Linstead Market Square for your final collection. Do the two of you do anything else before continuing?
You're a strong man. Carry one of these barrels of beer out while we're at it? Something a little road beer on the way?
1 keg could fill me.
Perfect. 1 keg for the road, sir. And without asking, he's just going to kind of roll it over to you for you to grab.
So I pick it up.
Okay.
On my shoulder.
You said it was pretty muddy out on the streets. I will get up on the other shoulder so that I can tap it. Okay. And the prestidigitation music begins again, and now little sparks kind of pop out as we're
The sense of music is the only reason I ride on my shoulder, because it's amusing.
Excellent.
I think we'll be friends. Fast friends, Traghoul. Now, Yush, mush, onward.
Excellent. The pair of you head toward Linstead, your thoughts turning towards your next collection. The Linstead Market Square awaits is a place far different from these impoverished streets. It is there amidst the hum of the city's wealthiest district that you will find your third and final collection of the day. As the pair of you walk through the streets of Bankbutch, the rain slicks the cobblestones, turning every gutter into a thin black stream. There's a small crowd that's huddling beneath the crumbling awning of an old bakery. On the corner, standing atop a crate, a gaunt priest in threadbare robes raises his arms to the gray sky, his voice sharp and unwavering despite the rain. You feel it, don't you? The ache of purpose unmet. The heavy stone of struggle pressed upon your backs. You toil, you bleed, you wonder why. But the faceless God sees you, and you know what he asks. For you to be emptied. For like water wasted upon the ground without a vessel, so too are you without him. Emptiness is not despair, it is invitation. He does not seek your resistance, only your surrender. In the hollow of your soul, as he grandstands around the meager crowd around him, he shall pour out his purpose. A few in the crowd nod.
Preach, brother, preach!
Yes, as you approach, he turns towards you. Ah, you there, Blood Cloak. I know you hurry on important matters, but even Stravia's finest must not forget the words of our Savior. Tell me, do you know the teachings of the Faceless God? Do you know his voice?
Well, of course we do.
Good. Good. Are you true believers, then?
All hail, all hail. I do believe that I am a greater believer than you, sir.
Than me?
Yes.
Pray tell.
Well, I start grandstanding. I push him off the box. Listen to me, everyone. Not this. Well, he is well-spoken. I'll say I do like the message, but you have no panache with it. Where's the flair? I know he says, give up all your face, but does the face have to be the one you are wearing today? Are you going to be wearing a mask the next time you do? Maybe pass along masks? It is child's play. Change yourselves, people, for changing yourselves is truly what he is after. Because if you really want his attention, become no one and everyone, yes? Yes? And I'm going to try to do a group kind of persuasion check to try to get cheers to come
Give me
out
a
of these
persuasion
guys.
check with advantage.
Give me, yeah. I want these guys to applaud me. That's what I'm after. My words, I'm just kind of saying stuff. But really, I just want the attention.
You want the adulation.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Oh, God. Well, these people suck, I guess. That's still like 12.
12 with advantage?
Yeah.
There's a few yeah. You sense that they're more confused, I think, than anything else. There's they're appreciating your performance, but confusion, I think, at the display and the unseating of the priest. So there's scattered applause.
I dislike this, and so I'm going to tag something on it and say, and also beer, and I'm going to tap the side of it, and it's just going to start gushing out.
Yeah, they go for that. They cheer for that and start running forward.
Yeah,
cupping their hands to gather some beer.
And that, my friend, is how you razzle dazzle.
Fantastic. The pair of you, after your encounter with the priest and drinking your fill of beer, I will say you notice the demeanor of the people gathered here, and as there's a keg being tapped in the streets, general crowd gathering, that people who were hesitant and especially at Traghoul, but the pair of you Blood Cloaks in the streets, definitely hesitant and afraid initially, begin to show appreciation, and a couple of them pat you on the back as they fill their cups.
Yes, sir. Forget yourself. Alcohol helps with that immensely.
Yeah. After that moment, the pair of you head towards Linstead, where the atmosphere shifts noticeably. The buildings here are grander, their facades well kept and adorned with finer details. The cobblestone streets are swept clean, and passerbys carry themselves with a sense of pride, not like the downtrodden peasantry that you found in Bankbush. The northern wind grows colder as you travel, carrying with it faint whispers of snow. The first flakes settle lightly on your shoulders, but to you, Traghoul Frostbite, it is nothing compared to the blizzards of the endless waste. There the snow was a constant, burying all in its frozen embrace. Your gaze lingers as you walk on the horizon, where the pale gray sky blends with distant frost-bitten peaks. For a moment, Slavoka's cobbled streets fade away, replaced by jagged cliffs and the sharp bite of wind. You are no longer here, but back in the halls of the Iron Howl clan, standing before King Goroth Icebane. Outside the halls, the wind howls like a wounded beast as it whips through jagged peaks of the endless waste. Snow falls relentlessly, blanketing the frozen mountains in a thick, unyielding shroud of white. You stand inside the looming hall of the Iron Howl clan, its massive entrance carved directly into the glacier, the jagged ice glinting with an eerie blue light. And here, the cavernous entryways are tall. You don't have to duck as you walk through these ones. Braziers of light, flickering flames, struggle against the chill, casting long, shifting shadows across the stone pillars. Inside, the air is slightly warmer, though the biting cold lingers in the edges of the vast chamber. Fire pits roar in defiance of the icy winds, their light dancing across the frost-covered walls, their smell of smoke and sweat and iron is permeating this room. There's a low murmur of voices from clan warriors gathered along the edges of this assembly hall, and at the far end of the hall, above you, at a series of stairs sitting encompassing the carved, huge throne of ice, sits King Goroth Icebane. His massive figure draped in fur and bone, the glint of frost-tipped crown that sits on his head is catching the firelight. Beside him stands Azarka Frostmaw, her sharp gaze cutting through the air as she stares directly at you. Next to you, Orlok Bonecrusher leans against a pillar. There's a smug smirk that's plastered across his face and his toothy maw. The room grows quiet as you step forward, summoned by Goroth. There's a weight of expectation and judgment that is pressing down on you like the ice above. You and Orlok were brought here before King Goroth after failing to track and capture a quarry, a frost giant exile named Dremok. Goroth's disdain is palpable as he looks down upon you.
So, this is what my Iron Howl warriors have become. 2 cubs chasing shadows in the snow. You bring me excuses when I demand results.
And it is there that we will end the session. Thank you so much for watching. We will catch you guys next time as we find out what happens with Goroth Icebane and Frostbite Traghoul. Yeah. See you next time. Bye.
Nice. Nice job, Matt.
Your voices are awesome. Your guys, everybody sounds so cool.